Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's edition of Press Hour. 2025 in Cameroon is a time of reckoning. It is a decisive moment in the life of our nation. The October presidential election has already started, springing up surprises. Alliances and agreements are breaking up like sour or overdue marriages. Statutory this week, the electorate will be convened, and that will open a new wave of surprises. Ahead of the great national October poll, the rhetoric is unfriendly, thereby generating shock waves of concern and preemptive actions by some people and fear for others. Excuse me. If you feel indifferent about the hot political air around us, then think again, because inaction is already a position taken, and bad enough a permission to do on your behalf what you wouldn't like to see done. Whoever we are and wherever we are, as communities, as groups, as families or individuals, do something that will contribute to keep Cameroon in peace when the top political game is over by the end of this year 2025. For on Press Hour today, we see it as a conflict between peace and uncompromising tension. And our wish, as we shall discuss on the program today, is that peace should conquer tension. I am Kilian Dandifon in Yaoundé, and this is Press Hour. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, we are broadcasting live from Studio 4 of the CRTV Production Center here at Mbalatu in Yaoundé. And as guests, we repeat our topic for today is what can we do for peace to conquer tension in Cameroon in 2025. We know the top political game that is going to take place, the presidential election of October this year, in just barely 3 months away. Our guests, we have Madame Sylvie Jacqueline Ndongmo, who is a human rights activist. She is a peace leader. Of course, precisely, she is the president of Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. She also is the executive secretary of Women's Peace Initiative that is in Cameroon. We have our own, I want to welcome you to this set, especially today, Madame Sylvie. This should be the first time you're coming to Press Hour.
Yes, it is the first time, and I want to thank you so much for inviting me. And I want to send warm greetings to all CRTV televiewers and to my co-panelists here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yes, and then talking about your co-panelists, we have our own Yvonne Mumabi, who is a human rights. She insists we should say she is a human rights activist, not just actor. Am I right? You are also a politician.
You're very right, Kilian. Another pleasure for me to be here, though I would have expected to have men on this panel because they don't go create their problems and you bring only women to come and quench the fire. I would have expected to have men to debate on this topic because it takes them more to tango on that domain.
Yes. By the end of the program, you have a man. I assure you. And of course, it is not that men go and create problems. If men go and create problems, it means the ladies permitted them to go and create problems. And we are asking you not to permit any man to go and create any problem.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. And it's time for us to introduce another person who is new on the set, her first time, Madame Nathalie Wakam-Foko, who is a civil society actor as well, which means that she is well-grounded on things that can bring about peace. She is Cameroon's chapter president of the International League for Peace and Freedom. You're welcome to Press Hour.
Thank you, Kilian.
Yes.
Exactly. I'm the president of the national section of Women Internationally for Peace and Freedom. And
you have been working all along on peace, so that's why we brought you to this set. We're going to know what you, Madame Sylvie and Madame Yvonne, all of you, I know, have been doing so much for peace. This is the time for you to step up your action on peace, because Cameroon, the world needs peace now more than ever before. And at this point, we're going to invite Emmanuela Vernoy, who has been reading the newspapers for Press Hour. In our first slot, we call Press Review.
News on the upcoming presidential election in Cameroon continued to keep newspaper readers on the know the weekending. Anxiety rising and uncertainty looms in the Sun newspaper as Bello Buba Marguerite terminates age-old romance with CPDM in the Herald Tribune, what the Guardian Post describes as Bello Doms Bia. In the Voice of the Voice newspaper, Bello Buba's NUDP finalizes the Great Northern Breakaway, one which makes the reporter to think that Bello and Chiroma's beats weaken Northern Alliance and strengthen Bia's grip, especially as Bello Buba is set to run for 2025 presidential in the horizon. The pilot precises that Bello Buba was chosen by UNDP to be their candidate. To the Eden, it is the Sahelian wind of change that takes nation off guard as government ministers slam door on regime. And immediately Cameroon Tribune captures the political effervescence which is heating up. In the face of such happenings, Biya positions Ngongo as de facto second in command, according to the median. And so Ngongo holds broad-based consultations with political representatives from around the country in Cameroon Insider, what Cameroon Tribune describes as strategic consultations. Before the National Post envisages groundbreaking plan changes looming, the Guardian Post sees a tsunami gathering to sweep Biya from power. An idea apparently shared by the Post newspaper that sees CPDM troubles multiplying as Grand North's vote suppliers and UDP and FSNC quits alliance. Just that the CPDM officials see such breakaway as nothing new. In Cameroon Tribune, with the communications secretary for the party, Professor Jacques Famdongo, indicating their serenity as they prepare for the election. Yet the median reports that the CPDM regime apologists are divided over Chiroma and Bello walk away, before Famdongo boasts in the Guardian Post that the CPDM will still win in the Grand North. The Voice quotes Issa Chiroma, next election could be first without current president. Before the Voice newspaper calls out October presidential countdown, do not neglect the media. Then Prime Minister head of government is announced in Bamenda. In the pilot, Cameroon Tribune indicates that the PM is on a mission to Bamenda to evaluate the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest regions. To the Chronicle Times, Biya dispatches Dion Gute with special gifts to the population of the Northwest, and PM gets historic welcome in Bamenda in municipal updates, and the Horizon sends word, Dear Dion Gute, solve Bamenda's needs and not wants. Before the first fruits of the reconstruction are brought to the public eye in the Guardian Post as PM inaugurate Bamenda's first ever modern stadium. Cameroon Acres then indicates that the PPRD prioritizes reinforcement of PAMOL, CDC and UNVDA production system for 2025. Time Watch Global magazine is clear that the PPRD will rehabilitate 66 schools in 2025. Happening when Cameroon's George Elombi is elected Afrexim Bank new president in Cameroon Insider. Municipal Updates carries the same story. Cameroon Tribune equally sees the election as a way to forge brighter future between Cameroon and Afrexim Bank. Just when ravaging fire leaves 20 IDP families homeless in Kumba. In Municipal Updates, road crash claims 3 lives in Limbe in the Guardian Post and the National Post newspapers. Let's now wrap up our press review with the Time Watch Global magazine that celebrates the Bamenda Gas Filling Center as one that will boost employment and the local economy. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
Thank you, Manuela. Next week, next Sunday is not far from today. We expect to have you on our way next Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. At this moment, I promise that before we continue with the program or before the program ends, as Yvonne Momabi requested, there will be a man. There is a man on this set. Is Dr. Isido Kwakum, who is a philosopher, and I know he's also interested in the things that are happening around us in the country. Doctor, you're welcome to Press Hour.
Thank you. I'm naturally happy to be here, hoping that we will have an incubative moment to have pertinent issues about the life of our nation. Glad again that I'm the only cock among hens, and I hope that the debate will be very much fruitful.
Yes, we even look forward to having another man if he comes, Enes Akufo. We give him some minutes to talk about peace because it's a collective endeavor in our country. Mm-hmm. Now, we have just watched Emanuela review the press for us, and Yvonne, you are a human rights activist, you are also a politician. The newspapers, like the public opinion, is divided over what will happen with the breakaway of an alliance of the chairman of the Cameroon Democratic Movement, that is CPDM, Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM, and some other person, that's Isachiruma Bakari, who is the national president of FSNC political party. We also had the breakaway of Bello Buba Maigari, Minister of State, who is the national chairman of the NUDP party. Now, with these big wigs, who the press was just telling us that their breakaway is going to cost to make the CPDM run for its votes. And now, CPDM barons, as we all watch, in the person of Professor Yakfo Mundongo, Minister of State, who is also the National Communication Secretary of the CPDM, is saying that it is something they've seen before. Nothing is going, it's not new, nothing is going to change. But I also need to have your opinion on this.
Yeah, I think in politics we don't talk about persons, we talk about institutions. These are two men who decided to go into an alliance with the head of state, President Paul Biya, I think. I don't think these two represent the entirety of their political parties. Politics is a walk in and walk out institution. Mm-hmm. You are not attached, you are not tied to remain on any space. It's a dynamic. Things change as times change. If they had made mistakes in the past and they think they want to correct them now, fine and good. If it's another strategy to maintain their relationship, fine and good. This country belongs to us all Cameroonians. And come October, Cameroonians will decide towards which direction, towards whom to put their confidence and give this country to that person to run. I call that even a huge distraction. Cameroon has more serious problems than two persons deciding not to be friends again with the other. Give us a break. Let's think about the real issues of Cameroon and not beat about the bush.
Well, you call it beating about the bush. We have known up to this moment that the victory of the CPDM lies largely on the votes they get from the Grand North, as we call the northern regions. And these barons of the FSNC and and UDP are people who have a big say up there. When you say they're beating about the bush, some people think that you don't measure the weight they carry up there so well.
Let me come back. Elekam gave us statistics of 8.2 million 19,000 registered voters. Bello Buba and Chiroma are 2 votes. You want to tell me that these 2 men, they stuff the ballot boxes in favor of the CPDM? I don't think so. I just think there is a base. They themselves, they are where they are because they belong to an institution that pushed them there. If the base has decided that they should return home or they should stop this alliance, it's just but normal. Cameroonians are going to vote and not just 2 men. Let's leave the weight. I continue saying this. There are more serious issues. I think we are here to discuss peace. The peace. Women, as women peace builders, we look at the happenings around us and are frightened for what's going to happen before, which is already happening, during and after the elections. We are here to lay emphasis on the fact that we want to see peace reign.
Thank you so much. Madam Sylvie Jacqueline Ndongmo, peace also depends on what these top political party leaders and the political game itself gives us. So what's your take on that?
No, my first take after listening and watching to this is that this is a true testimony of the hot political climate in Cameroon, even the words that are being used. And I want to say something. Whether Bello Buba or the President Paul Biya or anyone, who do they want to rule? Cameroonians. And if you keep fighting and thinking that you can kill yourself or kill Cameroonian, there will be nobody that you are going to rule. So it's important to keep in mind that we are fighting for the benefit of Cameroonian. Yes. It's important to say that it's ideological fight, not physical, because they are so rude, so violent. We are scared, as Yvonne mentioned, we are scared. Listening to some of these speeches, we are scared. And that is not the Cameroon we want. We don't want that. I want to take the opportunity to share one initiative that we are conducting. We started working on it in 2018, the Women's Situation Room. It's an early warning mechanism that enables women to take action before, during, and after the election. We don't want to see who is the winner of the election. We want to see peaceful election. Okay. So we are worried about the language, the tension. No. Cameroon is our collective property, and we should do everything starting with these political leaders. So Yvonne said it, we don't want to get distracted. No. What we want at the end of the day, what we want, whether from Bello Buba or from Paul Biya or anyone, is a peaceful country. And it should start by being mindful of the fact that negotiating this breakaway is also very instrumental, because if they don't negotiate it very well, their militants are going to come into the game and it's going to become more violent. We don't want that.
Thank you so much. What an answer. Yes, I'm going to move to the man before I come to you, Madam Natalie.
Yes.
Dr. Isidore Bakum, your take on this divide, the political hot potato that we already have in the country.
You know, the political situation today in Cameroon is very much funny, given that Issa Chiroma and Bello went into a gentleman agreement with CPDM. And when things are falling apart, the center can no longer hold. It is but normal for them to return back to their base. But there is tension in the sense that people who have been moving together suddenly decide to break away. It has happened before, like in the days of Gaga Haman. It has happened before in the days of Titu Edouard. It has happened before in the days of Maurice Kamto. What makes the difference today? So it is, in fact, we are in a complex dilemma. Complex dilemma in the sense that it might create an impact because there are a lot of political parties coming up. We are not sure whether they will be for the election or not. So I see it as a political distraction. A political distraction in the sense that we cannot announce our candidacy for the presidency on social media. They should follow the procedure.
No, the time is still coming.
The time is still coming.
The time for official
it is still coming. It is still coming.
Submission of
I'm talking.
for candidacy
The time is still coming. You
what
cannot.
they're doing now is okay. What they're doing now is politically allowed and it's okay.
It is allowed, but I am afraid that you cannot be eating with somebody today and we were supporting you because we were trying to maintain peace and cohesion. And you break away with that person and you are giving the negative impact of that person. Why were you there for this very long period of time? Were you not seeing this negative attribute before then? Is it now that you are realizing the loopholes? So it is problematic. We should learn to understand that we should not become common men when you say politics is a dirty game. Politics is not a dirty game. Just that some politicians play politics in a dirty manner.
But it's also said that there are no permanent friends in politics, which, like Madame Yvonne said that, and Madame Sylvie also said that it's their right.
It is
to
true.
Be together today and to break away tomorrow.
It is true. Never say never in politics. But then you cannot say you are stay with somebody for over 30 years. It is today. They are discovering his lapses. It means that you yourself, you are a problem. Because we are no more children that you cannot stay with a woman 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5 years, and you see that the compatibility is not there. You keep on staying with that woman. It means you are forcing the relationship. And we are talking about a relationship of more than 30 years here. It is problematic. I question the credibility of those breaking away.
And what he's saying is right, because it's a kind of betrayal. Many people followed them, whether Bello Buba or
Isa,
because of their choices. And now suddenly they break. It's a kind of betrayal at the same time. So I agree with him that it creates a kind of
polemics,
distrust and polemics, even in their own rank. So we should be very consistent. And I agree that you cannot embrace somebody for 20 years, then suddenly you start telling that he's a devil. No, there is a problem. So it's creating a mind, and not everybody, unfortunately, especially at the grassroots, has the same level of understanding. So we need to understand that it should not be misleading the Cameroonian.
Thank you. Yes, Madame Nathalie. Yeah. Yes, your take on this very topical issue. As we say, it concerns all of us.
Yes.
If it goes bad, all of us are affected as Cameroonians.
Yes.
So, what do you say about what's happening?
Yes, as the others say, for me, I think that it's a distraction of Cameroonian people. So we have to focus on peace. For me, I think that we have to focus on peace. We have to avoid do anything that can compromise the peace, and we have to have in our mind that Cameroon is our common property. Okay. And so what we are going to, if you act in a good way,
it benefits all of us.
All of us. And if you act in a bad way, Cameroon will fail. And we don't want Cameroon to be in that situation. And it's our duty every day to sensitize people about peace, to let the people know that Cameroon, we should promote peace in our country. We should act every day and everywhere to bring peace in our country.
Thank you so much.
No matter our differences, we have to have it in mind.
Yes, I will. I promise that I will have many other people on this set, and they have come. Yvonne, the one word before I get to the other people, two persons who have to speak on this topic before we take our main topic of discussion. Yes.
I think the other co-panelists again re-emphasized the romance had been long. Yes, marriages last for 40 years, they still break. If that's the case, they should break as they united. There was no such noise when that happened. We need to look at the collectivity, the entire nation, what's going to obtain. It's not about 2 people or 3. Please, we need a break from all these distractions. We want to think about the future of our country and what, like peace builders or like the mothers of this nation, we don't want to see blood drop.
None of us wants to see
we want to see peace.
That is exactly what we are Distraction could also be a strategy to do something bad somewhere.
Yes.
They turn you, you're looking away, and something happens. Ernest Akufo, I've taken so many civil society on this panel. You are one of them. What is your take on this topic, this subject?
Good afternoon to my co-panelists and to the viewers out there. This is a very sensitive topic, I must admit, Kilian. Sensitive in the fact that it concerns the security of Cameroonians, our security. And you see, if you brought it up, it's because it's a matter for concern. There's cause for concern. And what I have to say is, well, as I listen to...
It's the issue of the moment.
Yes,
we are
it's unavoidable. It's too preoccupying to the fact that I don't even know from where to start, but I must say something. The thing I want to say is we must be very careful. We must be very alert. We must, I say it is a must, because peace is precious. And we make peace, we don't give peace. Because if we think that somebody is going to say, take this peace, no. We make peace. So it's all incumbent on all Cameroonians from all shades of opinion to see into it that the tension, there is a lot of electricity in the air.
Yes,
there's no saying about that. But for peace to reign, there must be justice.
Yes, we're going to, those are the elements we're going to discuss when we get into our main topic. Just as a transition, Madam Sylvie, there's something that you said that Cameroon, Madam Nathalie, also is collective property. I want you to talk about this again so that those not only now have been perpetrators of crisis, of conflict,
Violence,
of war, of any kind of thing that disturbs the tranquility of the average Cameroonian should understand that peace is good for all of us. And I should say it otherwise. War is bad for all of us.
Yeah, of course. No, as Nathalie rightly put it, Cameroon is our collective property, and each and every Cameroonian thinking about Cameroon should remind himself or herself that the fate of Cameroon is in his or her hand. So if we have that in mind, that the fate in the country is in my hand, then we should act accordingly. So that is why we are saying that, especially in 2025, we should keep reminding ourselves, what are we doing with this collective property? Do you want to see it destroyed? I don't think so. So if we want to keep it alive, keep it flourishing, developing, therefore we should avoid certain things that are going to jeopardize. So please, each and everyone is our collective property. Let's do every effort. And I want to also remind Cameroonians that all the effort, no matter how small, for peace are all those bits are the one that construct sustainable peace in Cameroon. So we should not neglect, especially in this very, very delicate context, as even rightly put it, regarding the topic of the moment.
Yes.
About the breakaway.
Yes.
It depends. Maybe they are doing it for good. Maybe it all depends on them, but they should know that the fate of Cameroon is also in their hand, and make sure that everything is done in a peaceful way.
Thank you so much, and we're going to introduce one other guest that was announced in our flyer. I have not seen Law Gansley for long. I'm happy she has come, dressed so traditionally. Proud to be, I want to think so. She is also someone who is involved in things that go for civic education and she is part of a group called Civic Watch. Okay? And she preaches against hate speech. Defy hate now. That is exactly what it is. Law, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Kilian.
Yes, and I am going to introduce our main topic today, and that's where I welcome you. Our topic for today, our main topic, ladies and gentlemen, that is directly linked with the first one that we talked about, we just ending, is what can we do for peace, to conquer tension in Cameroon, in 2025. From all the panelists, what they have said, we agree that there's a lot of tension in the air. The political air is stuffed. So what can we do as Cameroonians to make sure that peace conquers tension? That is our topic. We are going to start with you, Law.
Thank you very much, Kilian. It's true, when I saw the topic of today, I was asking myself, in 2025, plus 60 years after independence, and social cohesion between people living in Cameroon, both Cameroonians and foreigners, should we still even be sitting on the table to talk about peace? Because from my perspective, peace is not something we talk about, it's something we live. Peace should be reality, our day-to-day interactions. When you wake up in the morning and you tell your neighbor, good morning, that is because you first of all acknowledge yourself as a person, you acknowledge you are alive, and you're happy about it. And when you see your neighbor, you see somebody that looks like you, and so you can say good morning to your neighbor. And your neighbor can also answer good morning. That is a form of peace. As we generally say, peace is not the absence of war, but there are little small pieces of what our society is, be it at the level of those in power, those who are to be governed, those who are called to serve as civil servants, or even you doing your little business. What do you do every day to ensure that your environment is conducive for each and every one to flow in and out? What are the institutions we have? Do they ensure that every person that finds themselves on our territory is free to express themselves? This has to do with governance. Are they free to develop themselves and even use their skills to be part of the nation we want to build, to contribute to nation building? Are we also, even if you're a little boy or girl in the community, what are your aspirations for the future? Are you able to proudly stand and say, I want to be this or that in my community? And the conditions around your community, do they enable you to grow to what you aspire? If later on these conditions are not met, of course, tensions will be. If later on you have so many dreams and hopes, you even have means in order to put them in place, and you don't have the existing infrastructure that has to do with policies, laws, and regulations that govern or guide our development processes, then there is going to be tension. So for me, I don't think we just talk about peace in 2025 because we have elections. No. Peace should start as far back as years past.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And that is a collective thing we need to build day and night.
Thank you so much.
As individuals and collectively.
Your language is a language of peace. There's so much peace in the language that you speak. I like that so much. Talking about language and talking about peace, there is something that I'm going to particularly call on Yvonne Mama B and Natalie Wakam Foko to develop, and then you weigh in on that. Dialogue as an essential part of peace. Talk to us about this, and then talk to us about what you have been doing in that respect, and what should be done this year, so that, we just crown your efforts this far and have peace at the end of this year in Cameroon as we go through the turbulent period.
If you followed law keenly, you'll realize that in all she developed, dialogue was the main,
peace.
Yeah, dialogue was the main. In every situation, people should be able to dialogue, communicate, and understand each other. Peace is not the absence of war, because we all have differences. But if we can realize that we have differences and we come to a table like where we are sitting, spew out our differences, seek a compromise. That's the middle point. There are people the country looks up to, like those we discussed earlier. There are things they should not behave like the little boy and girl in the quarter will say, let's cut it. We are no longer friends. Those should have been taught maturely and done in a very matured manner. You asked Sylvie about the question, the country is our common good. Whether we come from which background, the first thing is that we are citizens of Cameroon. I defend the fact that I'm a citizen despite our historical backgrounds. So even that history, if it has an issue, we should be able to go back to the drawing table, sit and discuss why are there crises, why are there tensions in the different parts of our country. We are so soothing here, talking only about those who will be able to even go out and cast votes. Have we thought about those who are living in these war-torn areas in Cameroon, whose polling centers or stations have been removed from where they live and have been pulled together, where you need to go kilometers on kilometers to go and exercise your civic duty? Disenfranchising even Cameroonians from voting is not a peace deal. When I talk about this, I remember those who are internally displaced. Who has even sat and thought about them? These people left where they were and are now elsewhere, like citizens. Those in governance. What have you thought about these people? Are they disenfranchised?
The internally displaced?
The internally displaced persons. They are not only from the northwest and southwest. We have them from the extreme northern region and even the east region with the areas where there are problems. The peace we need, she said, it was supposed to generate from the day we came. If we all consider this country, the little bit you hold, like your property, will understand that peace is like a chain. Every citizen of this country is a lobe of that chain. And if we were to bring our small pieces together, imagine the peace heaven will have, called Cameroon. We need to think about that. Reconsider your political positions. Every citizen is a political beast. The only difference is that some are into partisan politics, while others, everyday fellow Cameroonians, from the morning you get up and start thinking of what you get for breakfast, you are doing politics.
Yeah.
So politics is done by everybody. If we consider it from that perspective, I see every Cameroonian come out to build peace, to make it peaceful. Because if you want to go get just what you want for that breakfast, and they are shooting, there is ghost town, you cannot even move, psychologically you are not the same person.
Yes, you are beaten.
So we need so much. It cuts across the board that we need a peaceful environment and a very just society where justice is served when the need arises for us to move on.
Madam Sylvie, she's touched on things that are dear to you, peace as englobed into dialogue. She has also talked about every Cameroonian who should consider the drive for peace as an individual battle. I want you to also expand on that.
Yes, maybe I want to say that our diversity is our strength.
Okay.
Yes, let's start by that. Our diversity, we come from diverse background, from different political arenas, but it should be our strength. That is the first thing. And to build peace, Law rightly put it, a simple smile is already building peace. When you get up in the morning and you look and you frown at your neighbor, it's a sign. You have given a very strong sign. But when you smile at your neighbor, you are showing a kind of peace. So it's very, very important. I think at this moment, we need deeper awareness. We have to be more aware than in the past that we are negotiating a very difficult situation. And more than before, all effort are really needed. And in this all effort, each and every voice counts. And if you look at the history, not only of Cameroon, of other countries that are war-torn, there's no possibility of reaching sustainable peace without dialogue, without interrogating the root causes of why do we have problems. She just said it. If I take the case of Cameroon, I always say it on TV and everywhere. We talk about, how do they call it? In the northwest and southwest. Yes. No, I mean those Amber boys in the far north. Whether you kill all of them, the problem is not solved. I'm telling you honestly. Yes. Why do you think that somebody is able to take a weapon one day and start fighting? Why? There is something wrong somewhere. So there is no possible. I'm the international program of the world oldest women peace organization, which is 110 years old. And what is our story? The organization was created in 1915 when the First World War was raging. These women came out in 1914 because of their right to vote. Then they discovered that they could not hold their meetings because of the war. So they start asking themselves, why is it, what is happening? So that's why the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom was created, to look for other strategies, other mechanisms to bring peace rather than weapons. So if these women, we have had 3 Nobel Prizes over the years, if these women were listened to, you wouldn't have the Second World War, because they call on world leaders to tell them that, look, what is bringing all these issues? Let's dig deep. So, and you know all the what came out as the recommendation, as resolutions. No, they were not good. Fighting Yvonne is not the solution. No, but rather trying to, why is Yvonne angry? So that is the best way, whether we like it or not. I know it's very difficult, honestly, very difficult to even dialogue with something which is doing harm to you. But if we continue doing harm, therefore, let's just try and sit on the table. Of course, we are not encouraging terrorism and so on, but we are just saying that dialogue is the key. Look at Colombia. For how long? How many dialogue have they had there? So please, it's a very strong call. And the same way as Cameroon is our collective property, it is also our collective responsibility to take action, to take action for peace. And just smile is already action. So the political leaders, please, as you are jumping and say, I want to be president, yes, make sure that you present to us peace leaders. We need. Natalie is going to talk about one initiative you are having.
Yes. Let us even just go to her to talk about it. Yes, and then before you go ahead to talk about the initiative you have, Madam Yvonne talked about social justice. For there to be peace anyway. You start from there and then you tell us what you're doing.
Okay. Yes, as she said, as Yvonne said, social justice is essential for peace. If there is no justice in our society, unfortunately, there will be tension. There will be tension. If frustration, there is, and so on.
So what do you put into this justice you are talking about? This social justice. What is it? How do you explain the absence of that? What is it? What do you put into that social justice?
Yes, social justice, for example, is to make sure that everyone can eat. Is to make sure that everyone can go to school. Is to make sure that if you want to express yourself, you can express yourself because freely. Freely, because our constitution and the laws that guarantees freedom of speech and so on,
of movement, freedom of association,
and if all that rights are not respected, normally and at the end of the day, there will not be justice and there will not be peace. And we think that to have peace, we have to start for justice. Yes. And to continue with what we have been doing so far for promote peace in our country. I can say that we start so far from in Cameroon section from 2014, pardon, and we advocate for the National Action Plan on the 2035 resolution that involve women in peace process, peace processes.
Yes.
So, and we make that advocacy, and the government of Cameroon government decide to adopt a national action plan, and that involve that allow women to take action for peace. And last year also we conduct a project to promote social cohesion, and in that project we produced a document, a guide for
politicians and hate speech. Yeah, we are going to bring.
Yes.
Okay, politicians and hate speech.
Yes.
I have
French
a
and
copy
English.
here, French and English. Yes, it's quite bilingual.
Yes.
And this alone is going to make me to invite Law back to this set very soon to talk about that, because that is in her blood. That's
it's a good document that we want to the politician. We encourage the politician to use it and to read it and to
apply what it is in it. Thank you so much,
very important,
Dr. Isidore. Just in 1.5 minutes, what should we do to have peace, particularly this year?
Yeah, thank you, Kilian. I think what we have to do to have peace in Cameroon, we should dialogue and effectively implement it. Because when we dialogue without implementation, it will not go along with the solve problems. For us to have peace in Cameroon, there should be justice, fairness, and equity. Remember, violence or civil disobedience always emanate from government inability to function in order. If government can be able to implement the resolution taken on dialogues, or effectively implement all what we wish, that peace should reign, believe me, there will be peace and tranquility in this country.
So who are you blaming?
I am blaming.
Because they said earlier that every Cameroonian should take it as a personal battle.
Of course, it's a collective effort. It's a collective endeavor. But there are people who have the higher ability and power to effectively implement. You cannot be dialoguing and then you are not implementing. So that is my stand.
Someone is helping you that who have the mandate.
They have the mandate.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have the mandate. We have our wish. We have our contribution to make, but we don't have the
wields the power to make it happen.
The command button.
Yes.
Well, if that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
So I need Madame Law back here on the set, because when Madame Nathalie was talking about, she made mention of fighting hate speech as part of your action plan. That's what you said? Yes, as part of the action plan. Madame Law Ngansley, tell us what you've been doing to fight hate speech, and tell Cameroonians, including these leaders, how to avoid hate speech this year that we are going to witness, whether we like it or not. Tell them how to avoid it.
If you permit me 1 minute, so that I can help, I can give her, so that she knows what we are also doing. Nathalie mentioned this guide on political and hate speech. So our project was conducted with the support of UNDEF, United Nations Democratic Fund. So we have twofold objective. The political actors generally. So this political guide is to help political actors have a peace agenda and also train their members in fighting hate speech. Then the other guide, we forgot it unfortunately, but we are going to send the soft version, is on educators.
You count CRTV is for all Cameroonians.
Yes, it's on educators law. So this was a guide on for the youth. How can the youth work to prevent hate speech? So this guide for educators, we have 250 teachers that were trained to use the guide to train, and the The guide has the objective to train and get people to fight hate speech and promote social cohesion. And it can be used in families at different levels. Yeah, especially by it's targeting the youth especially.
Thank you. Laura, I don't know how you can share what you've been doing with us in 2 minutes so that we take the microphone round again. We have other aspects of this topic to discuss. Tell us what Civic Watch has been doing, and you are leaders of that organization.
So, Killian, as you hear just from the name, Civic Watch, it's a call for civic consciousness. That is, you individually being conscious of your words, your action, being watchful of yourself, and also being watchful towards the other. Generally, we talk about hate speech. Hate speech does not come from space. It comes based on the relationship we have on a daily basis. Who is it that taught us that these women from this tribe, you don't marry a woman from this tribe because they are like this or they are like that? Or you, Killian, you're working in Yaoundé and tomorrow they transfer you maybe to the East region and your family tells you don't go there because they will kill you, they will do this, they will do that to you. We are the ones creating those stories. And most of the other speakers talk about dialogue. For there to be peace, of course, there is dialogue. And this, I can say, policies we have should be able to foster and enhance trust between the institutions and the people.
Yes.
And trust at the level of the people.
So well conceived. What have you done on the
So
field?
at the level of our work, what we do is we adopt a grassroots approach where we go to communities and try to have this interaction with them to identify the core problems they have that causes tensions, that causes their inability to participate in nation building. Some of the things we realize is most young people have lots of potentials, but they don't have space where they can express this. Many of them have been to school, they have all the certificates, but what do we know about access to public services in terms of examinations? That is a source of frustration. Even when you manage to set up a small business or something, the next day you know your business place is destroyed because you were not either by the roadside or one thing or the other. And this at times usually creates way for people. They don't even have a place where they can complain. We take an example, a basic example. If I give you a slap, for example, either you have to...
Which I wish you will not do.
No, I will not. Sorry. I don't. If I give you a slap, you would either return the slap or go away. But in other places, if you give me a slap and somebody will say, okay, wait, you hear from my lawyer, because they have strong institutions and they know if they report you to a police, gendarme, or wherever, there is going to be an action. So there is a call for public officials who have a mandate, like they rightly say. The fact that you put yourself at the service of the public means you are called to serve and not be served, like we see in most cases.
Thank you.
And as individuals, we too now, at our level as citizens, have to also support you by being responsible so that together we can have...
Yes, the rest of the time that we have, we're going to see what is the place that has been given to women to drive across peace in Cameroon, and what is the place you wish to have as women to actually wade in to make sure that there's peace. From your discourses today, I have learned so much. I have seen how much force you have to drive home peace. Yes, beginning with Yvonne.
Yeah, I belong to the Cameroon Women's Peace Convention platform, where we build peace, piece by piece. We are planning a national action to, I don't know, we'll join beggars of peace to beg for peace before, during, and after the elections. Place given to women, they told you about the UN Security Council Resolution 1325. We have already a second national action plan, which means women, even when they're not given the space, they don't give them space at the table, they create their space and carry their chairs to that space, because during the different crises, the pain or the is exacerbated It's exacerbated on women, and it's incumbent on women to say stop. We don't want all of this. Women are so active in peace building in Cameroon.
Now, before I give the microphone to Sylvie, what is the place you have in the upcoming presidential election? How many women candidates are you projecting? For example, because sometimes it begins from having the mandate. You are the ones who use that word.
Yeah.
I think you want to bring another debate you want to come in with a new debate.
It is
The
just a place of
Cameroonian woman is not out to create a woman's country. We are not out to divide Cameroon and create a women's specific space. Candidacies shall be announced soon, depending on the political program. Whoever will present the best program as citizen. Somebody talked about equity. I don't know why you think emphasis should be laid at a female candidate. The biggest democracy in the world, 249 years old, has tried. It's a process. We are going towards that. Don't be surprised to see me head of state tomorrow.
Wow. Why will I be your government?
Minister of Communication.
Okay, Natalie. What? No, we'll go to CV first before we come to Natalie. The place that the women have, and what is the place that you wish to have? And you can do that in 2 minutes, 1.5 minutes.
Okay. No, I want to say that Cameroonian women, if I take the case of our country, are an important demographic dividend. And that dividend should be transferred and become a force into the political, into the peaceful space in Cameroon. So that's why women are at the forefront. I want to give an example. Unfortunately, we don't think there is a confidence enough in the power of women in Cameroon. Honestly, very honestly, yes. But it is a mistake. It is a mistake. If I take the example of our organization and the others we are working, I want to give just 3 things. Natalie mentioned it. It took us a few years to advocate to have a national action plan. It's not for our organization, it's for the country. Because Cameroon, we were told at different levels, including high-level officials, that why do we need a national action plan? Yeah. Because we are not in a crisis situation, no. We don't need an action.
So you had foresight. We understand you had foresight. We're going to move forward. Yeah. Thank God you brought up
yes, I just want to say that, I'm just giving as an example to say that when you bring women on board, they are able to influence and bring positive change. So my call is that that we even have some statistic worldwide from UN Women that say that in peace processes where women have been involved and taken lead position, they have 15% chances of success or succeeding. So I think that officials in Cameroon should trust women. When in 2008.
Yes, I think that we're going to end with you there.
Okay.
In Cameroon, our country should trust women.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Just in 30 minutes, Natalie, 30 seconds, thank you. Your last word. 30 seconds, like 30 seconds.
Yes.
What do we take?
My last word, I can say that we need peace in our country.
Yes.
No matter what is happening,
whoever wants to be whatever.
we have to remind that Cameroon is our property, as I said earlier.
Thank you. Yes.
As we said, we have to trust in women. Women is a pillar of peace in our country.
Thank you. Ernest Akufo, what do they accuse us of that we should bring men? I brought 2 men. So the take-home message in 30 seconds.
Yes, the take-home message, Kilian, is that we must avoid having to go after the consequences. We must arrest the causes rather than going after the consequences. That's my last word.
Thank you so much, Ernest Akufo, who is civil society. Thank you so very much, Law Gansley, who is a journalist. She is part of that movement that fights hate speech in Cameroon and across the world, in what we know as Defy Hate Now, in a program called Civic Watch. Thank you, Madam Nathalie Bokam-Foko, who is a civil society actor. Precisely, you are the president of the Cameroon chapter of International League for Peace and Freedom.
Yes.
And we have the president of Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, who is the executive sector of Women's Peace Initiative in Cameroon, in the name of Sylvie Jacqueline Dongmo. Thank you for coming. Our own Yvonne Muma B, who tells you that you should call her human rights activist. From her discourse, you understood that she also is a very shrewd politician. The biggest thank you, ladies and gentlemen, is to you, because without you, we will not be here. Thank you very much for watching this program.